Welcome to A New View. We are so glad that you joined us, and we want to give a big thank you to all of you that have been watching us and in commenting on our Facebook page at Restored Ministries and sharing your view and telling us how you like the show. And so today we are recording 3 different shows, but they're all about one subject.
That's right. What's it on, girls? What could we possibly have that much to talk about right now?
What does everyone in the country and across the world have in common right now?
Right?
We're all on social media.
Social media. Oh my goodness. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and how we can be better at social media.
That's right.
And so some of you may say, what is social media? What exactly is social media? Well, social media are the platforms that we connect on. You know, some of them that I like to use, of course, number 1 is Facebook. We have Twitter, we have Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Snapchat, WordPress, YouTube. I think there's Tumblr.
You're probably sitting here like, what? We have all of those?
Yes.
Yeah, but we do.
People may not even know that. I think most of the most common ones, of course, are Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Those are the 3 probably the main ones besides YouTube. But really, these various platforms were all intended for a different purpose. And so some people may not know that, because what I say now is it's kind of like you're in that Zumba class or you can't really follow the instructor. So then you're like, okay, I'm just going to freestyle it for a moment.
Yeah.
So really, social media has just become freestyle. People are not really using what the intended platforms were initially designed for. They kind of freestyle it and do everything.
Yeah, for sure. I enjoyed looking up research about social media. We're going to talk about some other things in our other episodes about how it's affecting us mentally, how we can be better about it, like Michelle said. But for this particular episode, I enjoyed finding out some numbers on who exactly is using these social media platforms. Which ones are we using the most? Like you mentioned, Facebook actually is the most used social media platform that I found. I used a study by Nielsen's. It was the Nielsen study done in 2016 was the main study that I went to, and I found it on a website. And the title of the article was 10 mind-blowing stats about social media usage. So of course I had to read it.
Well, it was mind-blowing. You had to read it.
I know,
Yes.
That's right. It was so catchy. So, I mean, this is kind of a duh when I read it. Women spend more time on social media than men. Duh, it's social. We're so social. So yeah, we are on social media. We are on Facebook. We're looking at our family's pictures. We're commenting. We're connecting with business. That's one thing that a lot of these studies mentioned is we do a lot of interacting to find out what products people are using. We like the pages of different products to get coupons and to stay, when's a new product coming out. On average, women spend almost 7 hours a week on social media, on Facebook, or actually on social media. Men spend under 5 hours. So they're still getting on there. But I thought that was interesting. And the ages of people that are on social media the most are 35 to 49-year-olds. So we're on there. I mean, that makes sense. Think about your friends. Like I think of all my friends that are on Facebook. They're generally around my age. And those are the groups of people that are spending the most time on Facebook in particular.
And Facebook in particular, actually, it has an age limit. You're not supposed to be on Facebook under the age of 13. It has a disclaimer. And, I've known people that have let their kids set up profiles before they turned 13. And I don't necessarily agree with that because, I remember when my kids got on there when they turned 13, and I really monitored their things. And I know we're going to go into more of how we can monitor that and be better on social media in the third segment. But, Facebook is now, it was kind of younger generation, younger kids, but now they've kind of moved on to the other platforms like Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram more. And so Facebook's kind of turned, they're like, Facebook mom is for older people.
It's for us.
So I'm like, we're okay, but I still get fun, tagging them in it. And I'm like, you're going to have to go check Facebook to see what I tagged you in.
Right.
But, back to these platforms, because, I've used the different ones, and especially in ministry, to promote those. But, WordPress is what we use daily for our daily blog. And we've done a daily blog since 2014, the Restored Ministries blog. And that's really what WordPress, and there's some other, I think Blogspot and some other ones that do that if you're wanting to write a blog. But Pinterest, Pinterest was one that I found great images. But when we remodeled our home, I would go out there for ideas to decorate, and then also, as far as recipes and things. So there are great things that you can do with that. Instagram, this is funny because, even though it's a photo sharing site, my kids are like, Mom, you're spamming Instagram. I'm like, what do you mean? You have da-da-da images.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, whatever, Instagram. And I thought, this is great. And I go, well, if it's a photo sharing site, isn't that the purpose of putting photos on there? But I guess, kids are all like, you can't put too many. And my kids are real like, if someone's spamming that, they're like real quick to say, I just unfollow it. I don't want to see that. And I'm like, why would you unfollow that?
That's interesting because I remember over this past summer, I talked to my niece who is, one of my nieces, I believe, is a freshman in high school. And we talked about social media. I love getting with people that are younger than I am or older and kind of asking them their thoughts on different things like this. And we talked a little bit about Instagram, and she was talking about kind of like a rule. And I don't know if it's a spoken rule for them, but only putting like 2 pictures a day on their Instagram. And I was like, who made that rule?
I know.
Yeah, I don't like that rule. But it is, and that is a thing, and we will talk about this as well, but think of the things our kids, are dealing with social media that we never had to. We are now as adults, and we are even going through, where we don't know exactly how to deal with some of the stuff on social media. We've talked about that, and we will talk about that. And that kind of brings me to my disclaimer. We were talking about, we wanted to put like a little disclaimer. We are not social media experts. No. We are just like you. We're using social media to connect with our family and our friends, but we're also using it to promote the ministry, to promote Jesus, to promote our beliefs, and really to be positive. Right. And so anything we're sharing with you is really to give you information and our perspective and kind of what we've learned and what we're continuing to learn, kind of to help you. We're growing so much with this show. We've talked so much about that and how it's helping us. And that's our goal for you. We want to just shed light on Facebook and the different nicknames we've come up with for Facebook in particular, right?
We have some cute nicknames. All right, Kim's got a nugget for us.
Well, my nugget is pay close attention because in this episode and the next 2, we might give you some insight as to maybe what not to do. Maybe you'll learn from our mistakes a little bit.
Right.
Yeah,
I might have some personal stories where I've been schooled.
Yeah, like using Facebook wisely, or just so you don't feel like a turkey later after something that you've posted, or just different things that we're all dealing with, especially women. We're trying to have, it sounds silly, but you are connecting. That is part of what all of these, some of these social media platforms, Facebook in particular, originally was for people to connect and to seek out information. Well, and as you've mentioned, it's getting a little muffled. We're seeing a lot of different things going on, with Facebook and these social media platforms. That's what we're talking about. We're not experts, but we do know. Michelle for sure knows some good stuff about social media.
Well, I really taught myself social media. I didn't know about social media, but I was like, how can I do this? I mean, I really resisted. I had old coworkers when I worked in the corporate world and say, you need to get on this Facebook. You need to get on this Facebook. I'm like, I have no desire to get on the Facebook. And then when I finally got on, can you believe that? At one time, I did not want to get on the Facebook. And and so when I got on Facebook, I was like, I really want this to be a positive and it to be a takeaway of what God is speaking to me in that time. And I've had other people say, I thought you were a real religious person and not relatable because you always put these things on there. Anything that I post on there is what I'm trying to work out. Well, that's what God's speaking to me. I have not arrived.
Me too.
I'm still struggling with that, or I know that whatever it is that speaks to me, it speaks to others because I know people will comment or they will message me out. But the thing about the whole social media and teaching yourself, I mean, you can learn some great things. You can pick up some bad habits or things like that. But like Twitter, I did not understand Twitter forever, and I was like, you can't. Especially when you're a long-winded person, you only have so many characters and I cannot get it all in here. But knowing that it's a very positive, if you want it to be positive, and there are a lot of great people, and they have, basically that's where the social media nuggets came from, all those tweets, they have great little nuggets, just these little one-liners that you can retweet. But I was actually trying to teach some people Twitter at a conference and was at the conferences, they give you the hashtag and they encourage you to tweet. So I was actually at the Joyce Meyer Love Life conference. It was the 30 year in St. Louis. And I was showing, they want us to tweet, using the thing. So I was tweeting and using that and back and forth. And then Mandisa, the gospel Grammy winner, singer, she was originally from American Idol and went on to have a great career. She tweeted and asked, did somebody fill in for the Toby Mac part for a song? She was going to be doing a concert there the next day. Well, I just jokingly sent back and said, I can do it. And
this is all through Twitter.
This
correct?
is all through Twitter.
Yes.
And not knowing, I was just kind of really teaching myself, and sent it back and said, I can do it, jokingly, and got a response from Mandisa and said, are you there? Yep, so I'll be there all weekend. I'll let you know. Well, later in the day, she had like 10,000 responses, something crazy.
Yeah.
So she said, we're going to just be drawing someone at random. We'll let you know.
Wow.
So we had a late night at the conference, up the next morning. Didn't think I got picked, didn't have anything. Later that day, we broke for lunch, and I get a Twitter message, and it says, Ballum, you're it. Meet my manager here. So that is the video that has been out there viral, showing us how, I rapped with Mandisa to the Good Morning and did that. So it's kind of was trying to learn Twitter myself is how that all happened.
Wow.
And that was funny. And then I Instagrammed a picture of Johnny Depp fishing in my hometown that a friend of mine had posted, and I actually Instagrammed it, and my Instagram was tied to my Twitter. And that's what we're going to kind of talk about too, is you can link these social media platforms together nowadays. And so when I was doing an Instagram, it automatically went to my Twitter. Well, it blew up and went viral. And the next day, it was first day of school for my kids. I went off, with some friends. We were celebrating kids back into school, and my phone was blowing up. People were saying, you're in the Houston Chronicle, blah, blah, blah. Somebody wrote about you, something this, that. And I'm like, what? What's going on here?
Yeah.
And actually, the Houston Chronicle did a negative news story about Johnny Depp, and they used my Twitter and my Instagram without my permission. But as I've since learned, when you do put things on social media, especially publicly, they are open. They are open to free things. So I did kind of give them back and say, I don't really like that. But then other people started contacting me to do a story. And I'll never forget this, the Victoria Advocate out of Victoria, Texas, a gentleman called me, and we were talking, and he was doing an interview, and I said, I really don't know the specifics. He was just, a friend of mine captured it. He was fishing with someone. So that, well, of course, the media flooded on the small town of Rockport, Texas. And they just really were just like, where's Johnny Depp? They're trying to find Johnny Depp. And then my kids were laughing because all these Johnny Depp fans started following me on Instagram. I had 120 people follow me from all over the world because they love Johnny Depp also. And so it was just really interesting how that thing can
see how
can
that
do
evolved
it.
and
But
how that,
I love how this guy Chris Cobbler, which was the reporter, he instead of did the story because he was trying to get people to confirm and to do it, and he spun this story all about what is social media. And so then my kids get a laugh about that, because that's really how I kind of learned, what you put out there, it can blow up in a moment, and you have to be careful. You want it to be something, of course, is good, which it was all good, but just learning those types of lessons, and also letting my kids know, because employers look at those social media platforms. Colleges look at them for scholarships. They look at them for accepting all those things. And so I always I shared this before. If your pastor or your granny cannot see it, then we shouldn't put it on there.
It's a good measure.
And it's a good measure to do that. But how these platforms are intertwining, like we said. We're seeing now on Facebook all the little recipes that used to be saved for pictures. So I joke and say, don't go on a fast or try to eat healthy, because then your Facebook page will be full of those tasty little recipes. And I'm like, block that.
Yeah.
But
and I think that's a good point as well, as far as what you're deciding, what you're seeing every day on your feed. We're going to talk more about that, but just you have control over that, and you have control what you're putting out there.
Yes.
And as adults, I think I would like to believe that most of us are more aware of that. And I think we're an example for our kids, obviously, and for other people that are seeing our Facebook. And I think it's just a matter of what do you want to look at? If you're looking at, there's a statistic that I believe Facebook, the users that are using it every, there's a large percentage, over 75% of those users are viewing Facebook every single day. What do you want to see on your Facebook every day? You be intentional about that. That's one thing that I think is important, because these images are going to influence you. They're going to have a message for you. It's funny to joke about, if you're doing a diet or a fast and you're on Facebook and you see all these images, that's actually true.
Yes, you're going to focus on
that. That will most likely affect you. That will most likely have you reaching for something that you didn't want to eat later. I completely believe that, for sure. I was reading too that, we're talking about I was mentioning so much about Facebook. Instagram statistically is used more among younger adults. That's interesting. I wonder how much that will change as more of us are using Instagram and linking our accounts. I'm not really great with Twitter. I know we set up a Twitter account. You helped me do that, and I still don't really know how to use it. And because I'm already on Facebook and Instagram, I've just made the conscious choice, and I like to play on Snapchat. I do. I've made the choice, hey, that's not one more platform I can get into right now, but I think it's really cool and interesting. And I could see in the future where, I want to read little nuggets. I want to be able to look real quick and have that. I just know I can't take on one more social media thing, or else Snapchat's gonna have to go. And I like me some filters for fun, so I'm like, I can't do that yet.
And I haven't figured out the whole Snapchat. My sister, my kids, they do that. They catch me in lots of really funny little Snapchats and things, but I just have never. I set up, but it's just not something I could, spend the time on. So I haven't really done that. But I like, because of the hashtags.
Yes,
hashtags.
Let's talk hashtags.
Yes.
So actually, some of our viewers have asked me, what is up with these hashtags? What are hashtags? Why do they keep talking about hashtags?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
School us.
Yes. So a hashtag, what I learned, and I didn't always before, is because that's where Twitter would have the hashtag, and when you search the hashtags, that's what you find, kind of what's trending.
Okay. So hold on. Let's wait. So you can search Twitter. Can you search Facebook
yes,
for hashtags?
Now you can search.
Can you search Instagram for our viewers who are mostly Facebook users?
So you can search Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter by the hashtag.
So you would want to put whatever hashtag you are wanting to search, or if you're using one in your post, you'd want to use it on your Facebook, and you can search other platforms.
It, yes.
Okay, good to know.
Definitely.
Okay.
And on Twitter, they actually bring you up when you start the hashtag. They give you kind of the top trending, so you can pick one of theirs. But I didn't know that for so long, that there was top trending hashtags. And so I like to create my own.
What's the benefit of the top trending hashtags for us as users?
So that when you're a topic that maybe you're interested in or you want to follow, you would just follow that hashtag so that you could get all the different conversations and communications about that.
Good.
And the information. But I didn't know that at first, so I would create my own hashtags. And, one with hashtag girlies or hashtag on Instagram, hashtag real good food, or, all this stuff, hubby jack. But I do kind of silly ones, but then some of them, have seen, somebody else is doing those. Those are trending. But that's really so that you can find, and that's how people find you. So one that, you can do is, encouragement. You do the hashtag encouragement. Somebody may be looking there and saying, I really want to be encouraged today. And they'll put encouragement, and then they'll find all these posts on that. Or if it's something that is trending, you can find about information or news about the fires or the hurricanes or things like that, then you would follow those hashtags. But it's fun to create your own also.
Yeah. I have a question for you, and I think we've talked about this, but what's the difference in using the lowercase and the uppercase letters in a hashtag? You don't use any punctuation, correct?
Right, yeah.
Is there a difference in using that stuff?
It's really just your own personal preference.
Okay.
I always like to capitalize the first letter just so that it kind of stands out and doesn't run together, and so that it kind of stands out.
It helps me read it faster.
Right. Will it pick up the hashtags, the same words, but without the capitalization?
It does. It does
good.
sometimes.
So that's good for us, for our viewers to know too. And why are we using hashtags?
Well, we're using hashtags especially for the new view because we want to get you engaged. We want you to share your view because, like Stephanie was saying, our disclaimers, we're not social media professionals. We're just kind of sharing what we've learned, kind of what the statistics are, but we want to be able to start a conversation with people that, what's the good sides of social media? What are some of the bad that will go into the next episode? And then how can we be better and to work this out? But we really want you, this is our 13. I think this is episode 13 already.
13.
Yeah.
We're pros.
Episode 13 already. And so we have different various hashtags, and we definitely want you to use them to get engaged with us.
And now, to help you find our different shows.
Right.
We'll put the numbers,
Yes.
we'll put a new view. And I think hashtags are fun. That's how I like to make them up too, but I wasn't sure if you could use them across the different which media social media platforms you could use them on. So I like that you explained that to us. That's very, very helpful.
I always thought they were just for fun as well, and I just probably since we started this show realized you can actually use them to search, and it's a great tool. And I love that you just said you can search encouragement. I was talking to somebody a couple years ago. Everybody's Facebook feed or whatever platform you're on looks different because of who you're following, because of who you're friends with, whether your family is fighting with each other or whether everything is harmonious or whatever. It's just harmonious.
Yes.
A little bit of both. I think both. Yeah, we can use both.
Freudian. That was Freudian.
Hashtag harmonious.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so I mean, you don't want to unfollow people, but if you or you don't want to unfriend them, but unfollowing, you can dip in when you want to check on your family, and you can search for encouragement. You don't have to just scroll and hope for it. You can actually go looking.
Search, yes, exactly. Yes. That whole seek, we can seek out those things that we want to, instead of just mindlessly searching,
And I think it's a matter of, we're very aware because of what we've used social media for the ministry and in our own personal lives. We're so aware of the fact that people are using this. And I feel like I can speak for y'all on this. I probably shouldn't, but we're aware of that, and we want to use it for good. Like we're not trying to make this like fake book for us. We're trying to be ourselves. But a lot of what we live by, whether we have different opinions or what we're believing in, you'll see that, I believe, on our Facebook. I know for me, you're going to see that, I'm very family oriented. I'm mostly positive. It doesn't mean that I don't think negatively and that I'm not thinking things in my head, but I just don't spend the time and energy of actually sitting and typing that out. It doesn't mean I don't have an opinion. I'm just not, sometimes I don't feel compelled to do that on Facebook. But we have to remember, this is so popular, but guys, we can control how we are on social media. We do. We can have self-control with social media, and we should. And if we don't, it's a matter of us asking, it might sound silly, but it's really not. God's in all the details, and He cares. And it's a matter of asking God, hey, how do you want me to clean up my Facebook? How do you want me to clean up my Instagram? How do you, I've had to do that. Like, I'll like something, especially on Instagram. I will have liked, in particular, something that has to do with working out or bodybuilding, because I've liked to work out. And then I go to my search on Instagram, and it will be all of these, like, basically naked bodybuilders, female and male. And my daughter's not on Instagram. She's going to be 11. But I will let her, like, sometimes I'll be looking, and she'll see, and she'll be like, what's that? And it's a matter of, like, that is not actually something I liked. It pulled up from an, I guess, is it an algorithm or something? And I've had to clean that up and just be like, I'm going to have to not like other pictures so that it's not pulling up pictures that I don't enjoy. I'm not going to mindlessly just let that go through my mind, because it will affect me. It does. I'll look at that and I'm like, well, I'm not going to have a body like that, and I actually really don't want to look at that. So, and I don't want my daughter over my shoulder saying, well, what's that? Because I don't want her to think that I've intentionally been seeking that out. So, sorry to get on a long-winded thing on that, but that's
true.
Yeah.
That's true. And the whole follow thing, because, I really believe that, especially on WordPress, you can follow different people's blogs. On Twitter, you have followers. On Facebook now, you can do followers. All that, Pinterest, they follow your boards and things like that. And I always thought, if someone followed you, the kind thing to do is you follow back. And there's even hashtags, follow for follow back. But I really, so they'll do hashtag. You'll say, oh, okay, this person follows you back. But you have to be careful, because then you will get those people that are not using it really to connect. They're using it for a different purpose, and then you'll get a lot of, like what I say, spam, and or they follow you. As soon as you follow them, they unfollow you. And there's different tools though that you can use. There's like an unfollow app and things like that that you can see who unfollows you. Sometimes it's not so nice to see, because people that you know, you're like, oh, they get offended? They unfollowed me. But just, trusting that you know who needs to be there, but just being, like you said, mindful. We're really mindful of that.
Yeah. One of the election seasons, I don't even remember which, I'm not going to pretend, but it was in the last, well, maybe it was the one before the last. I found some posts that I thought, okay, yeah, I can agree with this, I can agree with that, so I liked the pages. And that was a short season, because you start seeing all of what they're saying, and just because you agreed with one thing they said on a page doesn't mean you want to be, I'm going to use the horrible word we've been using all season, inundated with these posts. But that became what I'm being fed every day.
Right.
And so one day my husband said, this is fine for the people that know you, but me liking or me commenting on any of that stuff, he said, for everyone that doesn't know you, just imagine what they're thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when I had to clean up my page and think about what I'm seeing every day, and just kind of take some of that out
That's
of
good. That was a really wise thing.
Yeah.
And the good things about Facebook, that since we're primarily talking about Facebook, maybe Twitter, Instagram a little bit, but primarily Facebook, it was really the good about Facebook is that it does give us updates, especially I know I'm from the small town of Rockport that was the direct hit, and so I really was enjoying seeing the updates for the storms, connecting with people that I used to work with, family members that are dispersed all throughout the country and things, long lost friends, encouragement, prayer. I've gotten connected with ministry partners all over the world. And so a good thing that we had is a ministry partner that used to be in New York that was in Pennsylvania was able to connect me with a gentleman that drove all the way from Maine, and he was going to come to Houston, and we had all the flooding, so I directed him to Rockport, so he was able to go down and take supplies. This gentleman drove all the way.
That's
and I'm going to give a shout out to Timoteo. You were amazing, and I gave him a shout out, but he drove all the way from Portland, Maine, all the way to little Rockport, Texas, and handed out supplies and encouraged and prayed with people.
Facebook,
and it was all
Connection.
through Facebook, and I really worked with some of the recovery teams to get people, divinely connected where they needed to be. So there is a lot of good, and that's what this is. This is the good. We hope that you will stay tuned for the second episode, which we're going to kind of be going into maybe the not so good of social media, some of the things that you might want to be mindful of and that you can change. But the hashtag for these 3 series are going to be hashtag good, bad, be better, and of course hashtag speak life. That's already a trending hashtag out there. We know Toby Mac made it famous, but speak life is really what we hope that you will do, that you will take away from these shows. Hashtag share your view is that the takeaway is we are in control of what we like to see, what we put out there, and how we can encourage each other. Well, we hope that you'll join us for episode 2 so you can learn about some more things on social media.